Andy Fantuz's name is synonymous with success. A 2007 Grey Cup champion and the game's top Canadian.
Touchdown, Andy Fantuz!
Now, he's the league's leading receiver and the 2010 most outstanding Canadian.
There's your leader in CFL receiving.
But what makes it all even more remarkable is that Andy Fantuz's CFL career was just mere hours away from never even happening.
It was the only time I could remember not being able to not cry because of the pain. It was the most painful experience of my life. I remember I was playing in a basketball tournament that day, and I tried to go around this guy, and he kind of stuck his knee out and hit me in the quad. Walking home after the game was painful. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And I'm thinking, this is the worst Charlie horse I ever had. 2 hours later, my leg just kept swelling up and looked like an elephant leg almost. I couldn't even imagine it getting any bigger. So I called Dr. Willits, and he said, meet me at the hospital, right away.
Andy was in the emerge on a stretcher waiting for me. When you try to press on his thigh, it was like you felt like you could bounce a dime off it. It was so rigid. And it was about almost twice as big as his other thigh.
Dr. Willits diagnosed Andy with compartment syndrome. Essentially, his thigh was bleeding internally, putting an extreme amount of pressure on the nerves, arteries, and muscle tissue in his leg.
I couldn't even lay down still and not be screeching in pain.
He had 4 liters of blood in his quadriceps compartment. They took him immediately into surgery. They cut him open from knee to hip, cut open the muscle bundle and drained the blood out.
Dr. Willits made a 15-inch incision in Andy's left thigh, relieving the pressure and avoiding a potentially disastrous situation.
It's definitely a limb and life-threatening diagnosis. So, not being able to act on it urgently would have raised both of those possibilities.
What would have happened if he'd waited until the next day to call you?
Could have lost his leg.
He said if you would have waited much longer, there was a chance of amputation. And that's when it hit me like, whoa, amputation, that just blew my mind.
It took 4 more surgeries, over 100 stitches, and another week in the hospital to finally control the bleeding. Did you ever think to yourself, I might never play football again?
Honestly, when I'm in the hospital and I'm laying there, I kind of took the approach where I need to just be able to be back the way I was and forget playing football or any sport. I just want to be able to walk properly and just get better.
It was a month before Fantuz was even able to walk. Then, his focus shifted back to football. 2 months of intense rehabilitation later, and he was on the field for the Western Mustangs' 2005 season opener.
That was one of the best feelings you can imagine, that we saw him 2 months earlier in the bed with that wound, and then now we see him out there running and catching the ball. It's just crazy. It was really, really heartwarming, really indescribable.
How did this change your life and your outlook on life?
It does change you. Just all the extra work you have to do just to get back to where you were. It makes you grateful for what you have and what you can do.
It changed his work ethics. It changed the way he worked out. It changed a lot about his attitude towards not taking things for granted.
That season, Andy was the top receiver in university football in Canada and was awarded the Heck Crichton Trophy. Now, he's the CFL's top receiver and playing in his 3rd Grey Cup after just 5 years in the league.
Those of us who were around at that time and were close to that experience, I'm sure we all shake our heads in wonderment about that.
Every time someone new comes to the team and they see my 15-inch scar on my leg, they say, what happened, And of course I tell them a shark bite, but then I kind of tell the story about what happened, and they're all saying, wow, you're really lucky, and I said, no, trust me, I know. My career could have been over before it started, but now here I am playing football, doing what I love to do, and so I'm just grateful to be here.